Hafa day, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Tide. In this episode, we'll get to look at some talented artists and see how they express themselves through their work. But first, let's check in with Marisha for campus news.
Thank you, Lexi. Guess what, guys? UOG President Dr. Robert Underwood has renamed our academic semesters to reflect Guam's tropical weather and the Chamorro culture. I'm just going to apologize in advance because I do not have a Chamorro tongue, but I'll pronounce these names as accurately as possible, so just bear with me. The fall semester has been renamed Fan Uchanan, which means a place for rain, to represent the rainy season on Guam. The spring semester has been renamed as Fan Yonakan, which is a place for sunshine, to represent the dry season. The fall intersession is now called Tanatlu, which is in the middle, and the summer session is now called Vinakpo, which is at the end. In other news, the Tritons athletic program is back at it again with an upcoming event. The UOG men's basketball team will be challenging Exclusive at Guam Reefs Fitness Center on Saturday, September 23rd at 2 p.m. Right now, they're currently undefeated, so let's keep that going. Okay, so if you are a sports fan, I recommend to come on down and support your fellow Tritons. Thank you. That's it for the news. Back to you, Lexi.
Thanks, Marisha. Whew, those names were a mouthful. Try saying those names 10 times fast. Also, I'm definitely excited for that upcoming game. Go Tritons. But now, let's take a look at the role emotions take when creating art.
Art to me is everything. Really, it's something that defines me as a person. It's the way I make my money. It's the way how people recognize me, I guess you can say that. Like, if you were to ever meet somebody or talk to somebody about me, I'm pretty sure the first thing they're going to say is he's an artist or he does graffiti. So it's really what defines me. In the beginning, it was really just to be cool. People were just like, you're never gonna get anywhere with that, like, you should just stop. Like, oh, that's just whack, and like, oh, you're just copying that person, copying this, and without graffiti, I wouldn't be who I was. So you can say, like, graffiti messed up my life, but then it also saved my life.
In a broad sense, I'd say art is kind of like a means of communication with emotions. So it kind of means whatever the artist is trying to communicate, but as well as what how the viewer sees it.
When I'm sad, I feel like I produce art that tries to make me feel better. Like, that's how all those themes of like growth and like development come from.
After a couple of beers and maybe after like a good sad day, like a really like sad day, to me that's like when the best work comes out, because I'll be able to, I guess you could say, like feel myself. Not that way, but you know what I mean. But I like to carry a sketchbook around, so like when I am feeling in that moment, like, I'll grab a beer or get a mixed drink and get to like a little certain point after a couple of cups, and then just start creating.
Yeah, I think if I'm kind of in a bad mood, like my hand gets a little heavy on kind of placing down like colors. If I'm in a good mood, it'll be kind of lighter strokes. I think it's a good emotional stress reliever because you're really just focused on what you're doing, like minute by minute, hour by hour. You're kind of like distracted, and it's like an escape from what you're dealing with. So you're just focused on that thing and you don't really notice anything else. No, I don't think it can be everyone's stress reliever. I think it can frustrate some people. Like, sometimes it does frustrate me, and if art's not your thing, then I don't think that would be good for you.
I don't think that every kind of art is for everybody. Not everyone's gonna want to spend 8 hours on one painting. So I definitely think there is a way for it, but they have to figure out what kind of art is for them. Like, even if it's just like taking paint and spattering on the wall, like, people make millions off of that, like, bullshit. So most memorable or most noticeable was a memorial piece to my dad. A couple years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, he was diagnosed with cancer, and I ended up coming out from Saipan to Guam to spend the last days with him, and he ended up, of course, passing away. So I wanted to do a piece for him, and it was going to be my first entry to GAX ever. So what happened was I was cleaning his room, and my dad just happens to be like an avid drug user. So I ended up taking one of his pipes and using it in my art piece, and I actually painted in block letters, "My Dad Rocks," and I glued the ice pipe with the piece. But to me, that piece was like a lot. It speaks a lot for me because it takes a lot for me to talk about my father in that way. It was something for me to really just put my dad out there, my way of saying I fucking love you, and thanks for giving me what I have. And it's pretty crazy. Fuck, I'm about to cry. That piece is meant a lot to me because it was my way of saying I love you, Dad, for who you are, no matter what it was. Cut. Let's go.
That was great. I love the spirit these guys bring into their work. It makes me want to get back into painting. Don't forget to support our local artists and encourage them to keep on doing what they're doing. That's all for this episode of The Tide. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host, Lexi. See you next time. Adios.